Welcome to The Dark Side with Verity, a podcast where we dive into all the real and raw transformations made possible through breathwork. We all have a dark side, but it doesn't need to be heavy. And this is why we share stories to bring in the lightness, to lift the load so that we can all feel a little less alone and know that our stuff doesn't define us. And we move through this lifetime with more ease and grace. Let's dive right in. Welcome back to another episode of The Dark Side with Verity. And we're going to take a breath, and then I want you to try swallow 3 times. Close your eyes. Take a big inhale through the nose. Let go. Now see if you can swallow. 1, 2, 3. If you couldn't get to the third, stick around. We need to work on your nervous system. And why you're exhausted. And it's not because you're doing too much. You may think you're doing a lot. We think we're doing loads. People say, oh, I need more time in the day. No. Well, one, that's not possible. Anyway, however, being more productive and feeling less exhausted, that's something that we can work on. So, okay, you had a relatively normal week. Nothing huge happened. You didn't work crazy hours. You slept okay. Yet it becomes the end of the week, Friday, and you are completely bone deep exhausted. And the frustrating part is you cannot even really justify it. Because on paper, you're not doing anything crazy. It wasn't that bad. So you tell yourself you just need to work less, or you just need more time to rest, more time to do less. And then you rest and you still feel tired. So that's what we're talking about today, because the exhaustion epidemic in our culture has almost nothing to do with how much you're doing, and almost everything to do with what your nervous system is carrying. Because emotional exhaustion, if you've felt that before, is so much more debilitating for your body. After grief, I remember I could literally do 1 or 2 things a day. And that's infuriating from a person who was very high functioning, very busy, always on the go, all of the labels and things. And so most people measure exhaustion by output or hours worked or tasks completed, depending on how busy your calendar was, but also depending on how much pressure you put on yourself. And this is the wrong metric, because you can do the exact same thing and you can be emotionally exhausted while doing it, and that is going to knock you for 6. And so people can have identical days and on paper they look the same and have completely different nervous systems because they've had different experiences based on their activities, their history, their relationships, their level of trauma they've experienced. This will then define what the nervous system can carry. Like, what does a load look like for you? And that's where you have to work it out for yourself, because there's not one thing of, oh, you should feel this, because some things don't feel like a load or heavy for some people. Some people love to have their to-do lists and tick them all off. Other people, that is horrendous for them. So some people like to address every email, every Slack message as it comes through. Some people do a big block in the morning and then don't look at it for the rest of the day. It depends on how you operate, but how honest you are with yourself too. Because if you're working in blocks, that gives your brain something to focus on for that point in time. If you're continuously being distracted, you're not solid on a task. And there are some days that I work best when I move from task to task to task and then go back to them. I ticked off my list at the end of the day and it felt easy in my body. There's other days where I'm like, I need to just sit here and focus and finish this. So it's never the task, it's the activation that's running underneath your tasks or your list or your problem. So you're not doing too much, you're just probably carrying too much. And so this is why a daily practice is like having a daily shower. If you don't shower every day, you're just going to run around with this stench because over time it's just going to build up on top of you and people are like, get away. Same with your nervous system. You're having a daily cleanse because you can't avoid people, and people are going to tell you things. They're going to bring new problems to you, or your clients will share with you. That's going to just accumulate. And if you don't do something to clear it out, your body will do it for you. It'll make you sick. It'll make you stressed. It'll make you frozen, overwhelmed, burnt out, whatever it is. If you don't deal with it and take action daily, your body will blow up on you. So what happens is when you have this accumulation of stress, your body can't maintain stability through any change. And essentially how your nervous system adapts to ongoing demands is that's how you operate in life. I know our nervous system is so wildly important, isn't it? So the wear and tear on your body from chronic stress, from repeated activation, from huge things that happen in life, to low grade background stuff, nothing's actually wrong stress. Your nervous system has a bucket. Every stressor, major, minor, real, or perceived, adds to that bucket. Your regulation practices drain it. So when the bucket overflows, that's burnout, illness, shutdown, breakdown. When you're continuously clearing your bucket daily, you have capacity for more. And so it's not one big thing all the time. It's thousands of tiny things over the day that never fully get resolved. And if you don't fully cleanse or discharge, they end up accumulated in your body as aches or pains in your body. What fills that bucket, most people don't count because it's news consumption, social media scrolling, it's being in a dysregulated state, it's people pleasing, it's interactions with people that aren't your favorite humans, it's suppressing emotions at work or with family, it's financial uncertainty or stress, it's identity pressures, wearing different masks, it's performing wellness while not feeling well. That isn't an alignment in your body. And so it actually drains the bucket. It's not what most people think rest means. So the research on this load and its relationship to chronic illnesses, autoimmune conditions, hormonal dysregulations, the body keeps the score, literally and measurably. So if you're not cleansing it daily, accumulation happens. This is why when people say, oh, just rest, and it feels uncomfortable, because that doesn't always restore you if you are very dysregulated. Passive rest, lying on the couch, scrolling, watching Netflix, it doesn't regulate the nervous system because it depends on your activation in the body. Temporarily, it may numb you so it doesn't discharge. So if your nervous system is in a chronic stress cycle and it thinks it's under threat all the time, rest is just probably another way of remaining in your frozen state that doesn't feel as hard, or it could feel really hard. The activation is still there. It's just paused for a moment. And so the nervous system needs to complete the cycle. Otherwise, it's like this open loop for the body. There's a concept that stress responses have a biological beginning, middle, and an end. So like a full circular story. Most modern stress never reaches the end because we are so good at distraction. We are so good at numbing that we interrupt the cycle before it can fully move through our body. Think of it as an emotion. It takes 90 seconds for emotion to move through. But if it starts and we go, oh no, we can't feel angry, boop, frozen, paused. Isn't it better to quickly move things through? Yes, if we feel safe to do so. What completing the cycle can look like for you is just physically moving your body. Yoga, Pilates, walk, run, stretch, just jumping up and down and shaking. Like when a kid has a tantrum, they bang their hands and feet and scream. Moved. It is breath. You can focus on your breathing. You can do a few powerful breaths. You can add a breath hold. It's giving your body a place for it to move. Tears, crying, laughter, any expression, dance, a hug, physical affection, not passive consumption. And the sleep paradox is a threat response. So sleep quality is a nervous system question. not just a sleep hygiene question. I guess a sleep paradox is what is 8 hours is the norm. It's definitely not my norm. My norm is 6. I would like it to be 8. I wonder if that's possible. But your sleep quality is determined by your nervous system. And so this then begs the question of sleep hygiene. Are you watching Netflix before bed? Are you listening to a meditation? Are you preparing a bedtime ritual so that you get the best quality sleep possible? There's days where I do and days where I don't, and I feel the difference. There's time where you take time off. And I remember the first time I ever went to Verity, the island where I run retreats, it took me 3 days before I could feel my body drop in and be comfortable to be on a beautiful island and relax. And so sometimes people never get to that phase. I think it's why I was so drawn to the island, because I was so dysregulated and stuck in grief at that point that was so unusual for my body to feel safe to rest. I was away from Darwin. I was on an island. There was minimal reception, like the ultimate care package for my body. So when people say, oh, they can't take a holiday or they can never relax on holiday, that again is determined by your nervous system, because you have to know your baseline. Because if you're like chronically stressed and you're operating at this high functioning anxiety pace of getting all your work done, then it goes boom, drop. Okay, be calm now. Like, it's going to take a little moment to get there. So you need to know what your baseline is, and that's why you practice it daily. And then there's the identity part of being a high achiever and not being able to rest, because rest itself becomes activating and it will trigger because it feels dangerous in your body. The nervous system doesn't know how to be offline because offline was never safe. So when high achievers are in their exhaustion phase, it's like they've let themselves down, because normally they're driven, they have purpose, they don't have time to think. And so when they do switch off, or like in a space to be able to, they're not able to switch off. And that is frustrating for someone who's a high achiever and always busy, because they think they're being lazy or they're not good at something. When in reality, it's just learning their nervous system first, because this over functioning pattern of doing more isn't a strategy at that point. It is not helping them. And then it gets into a space of being more discomfort, and they make a holiday on the to-do list, and that way they feel more safe and in control and plan every aspect of the holiday. When in reality, like, your body needs to learn to do nothing sometimes. I used to hate that saying. And there's lots of ways that this leaks into. So say there's the empathy for coaches, for healers, for teachers. So people whose work involves holding space for other people's nervous systems, this is real physiological work. You are literally co-regulating other humans for hours. And so it costs your body something. You need to know how to clear, cleanse, and take time for yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to harm everyone around you, including you. It's why when you're pricing to work with clients, it's not just the hours that you're with them, because it takes time before and after to prepare for that. Then there's the visibility wound or load, when you're constantly building in public. Every decision, what to post, what to charge, how to return to every email, the good, the bad, the ugly ones, it draws on your cognitive stress. And your nervous system starts to resource. And then running a business means making hundreds of micro decisions on the fly as it accumulates. Otherwise, you end up with all these open loops, and that creates more stress in your business. And when you have your own business and you work on your own, you need to share that with someone, or you need a way to clear. Then there is the passion paradox. You love what you do and you don't count it as load. But loving your work doesn't make it metabolically free. Your nervous system doesn't care if it was meaningful or not. It still comes with a price. It costs your body. It's taxing on your body. It's time. So there are things that are draining you that you're not counting, but your body is. And that's these open loops. So they are unmade decisions, unprocessed emotions, comparing yourself to other people, things that you're doing that aren't in alignment, people pleasing, and micro moments that every time you just do something for someone else, it's okay. They build up. And that mental load of being visible all the time, again, like if you're not taking time out from your phone or social media as a set block, it means you're always on, and there's a price to pay for that. And then if you're running a business, you have all your financial decisions running in the background, your physical environment, where you live, where you operate from. Do you actually know what's draining you? So it's time to audit your life. Get real with yourself. What are you saying yes to when you shouldn't? And that becomes easy when you develop felt sense. You know what feels good in your body. You're like, oh, yep, this is a yes. Oh, no, that's a no. I don't need to spend time with that person. And you may love them, but do they drain you? Do they hurt your nervous system? Yes. You've got to be honest with yourself, because they're probably doing what's best for them. So once you know what actually depletes you, what triggers you, then you need to do the other part of this work and what actually restores you. Completing the loops, letting your body feel the entire circle first. I'm obviously going to say this, but breath work is the most direct tool, because the extended exhale makes your body calm down. It drops you into your parasympathetic. It slows your heart rate. It signals safety to the body. It's not relaxation, although it feels relaxing. It's active regulation. Nature, being outside, laying your body in the nervous system reset position, making the decisions that have been unmade for some time, having the conversations you've been dreading. I used to, whenever I would feel guilty, I knew that I had to communicate. And there were conversations that I potentially was avoiding. So I had to have them, and it disappears. Find what genuinely makes you happy. What is play and pleasure for you? Running, painting, drawing, dancing, catching up with your friends, hosting dinners, whatever. Co-regulation, hugs. Hug everybody for longer than about a 20-second hug is not super weird, but good. And try and get 12 hugs in a day. That's going to kind of keep your hormones in a good place. And then reduce your input before increasing your rest. So at the end of the day, wind down, have time off your phone, have time away from the TV, read books, have red lights, and just let your body soften. And it doesn't have to be some biohack. It is just letting your nervous system know that this reduce of tasks is helpful for your body. So the question isn't how do I do less? It's how do I clear my body so I'm not carrying so much so that I can learn to rest. Because being present and clearing and doing all those eat those frog tasks is going to feel like you have more time. Like tasks are going to feel easier. It's going to be easier to have boundaries because you know yourself. You know what's okay and what's not okay in your body. And none of this shows up in the hours worked or the tasks put in or how much blood, sweat, and tears you put into it. It's how your nervous system tracks it. So regulation is the answer. And that starts with not doing less, but finally letting go so the body can complete what it started, so it doesn't feel open. It's finding what depletes you. It's finding what regulates you. It's finding what lights you up. That will make you feel like you have more time and less exhausted. Good luck. Bye. That is a wrap of The Dark Side with Verity. Thank you for joining and being here to support our guests as they move, shift, and share through real transformation, sharing their stories from the darkest of places, allowing you to see their light. This is where the change will happen. You know the drill. Like, share, chat about it, connect with us. We're here for more, and you know it.